Welcome back, everybody. Well, that was shit, wasn't it? Oh boy. Yeah, yeah. This is United versus everybody. I am your host, Sean, and we are back with a match reaction because the latest Manchester United derby, the first Manchester United or Manchester derby of 25-26 season, ends up going Manchester City's way as the host beat what really the polite way of saying it is a lackluster Man United side 3-0 at the Etihad. I know a lot of us were pretty confident going into this one. I think going into the international break, it wasn't spectacular from us, but there were some definite positive signs, especially against Arsenal, for instance. But then, and given City's poor run of form too, I think we all thought pretty confident. I think most of us predicted a win. Most of us thought maybe it'd be like 2-1, 3-2. Did not go that way. Another day, another match riddled with missed chances, sloppy defending, just miscommunication. And worryingly, another match of no answers from Ruben Amorim, no changes, nothing he's doing to impact the game. And we're going to talk about that a little bit as well. I've got thoughts. Amorim had some thoughts. Bruno had some thoughts, but I want to know your thoughts as well. We are going to dive into the match today, looking at the performance, looking at the numbers, looking at the three thoughts I've got. Hear a little bit about what Amorim had to say after the match as well. So like the video, you guys subscribe to the channel. Check those memberships to learn how you can get more involved in the content we put out on the channel. Go check out the United vs. Everybody store. Tons of brand new designs in there. Awesome merch, posters, magnets, shirts, hoodies, mugs, hats, baby onesies, all of it in there. Go check it out. Let me get involved with this chat first. You guys know I always want to check out the chat. So, and I put a poll out there for you too, because I want to know what you guys think was the biggest issue today. Go check that out and get involved. I'll check back with that in a couple minutes to see what everyone's thinking. What's everyone going on here? Teresa, welcome back. Teresa says, well, I didn't get it wrong. These players are still doing their own thing. They're actually professional players earning so much money. Yeah, you think that professionals, Champions League winners, some of them would be able to just know what pressing is and know how to not switch off, know how to follow runners, know how to communicate. But alas, not the case. But welcome back, Teresa. Hopefully, Binder. Yeah, I mean, nothing Binder did today was too, like, aside from that early kind of heart and mouth, took that heavy touch from that pass from Euro that Holland almost pounced on. There was nothing I saw from Binder that had me thinking that he was really any worse than Onana. But Lamin's has got to start. Like that, Lamin should have started today. It's goalkeeping. It's not that big a deal. There's no system with goalkeeping. So let's see. yeah. There's a lot of experts on social media, and when the camera's on, everyone's an expert, right? Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, that was another point that I wanted to make too, Teresa. We'll talk a little bit about that because so many people are going off on United because of the Napoli result, Højlund bagging a goal in his first like 5 minutes. And if you watch that goal back, it's the same exact situation that Højlund did many, many times at United, but the only difference is at United, nobody was giving him the ball. He was making a lot of those runs. And oddly enough, the only one he was making those passes when he was fit was Licha. And that's exactly what happened. Højlund made a curling run into that left side channel. Somebody saw it, made the pass, and Højlund does what he does, gets it, runs a couple yards, and shoots. That's what Højlund should have been doing. We shouldn't have been playing him as a hold-up or a poacher. He wants to run. We just weren't doing it. And then when he was making runs, nobody was finding him at all. So it is what it is, unfortunately. Danny's B in the house. Yes, please, guys, hit that like button. Like Danny said, he's the mod. He's the South American scout. He's my Irish brother for another mother. When he tells you to like the video, you should like the video. Hope you're doing well, Danny. Hope your weekend hasn't been ruined. It's a combination of all the above, but this wasn't a good City team. Yes, we're going to talk about that because it definitely wasn't a City team. I am Titanium in with the deep thoughts here. Let's pause and have a moment. Some deep thoughts. We're so crap. I appreciate that. I might put that on a t-shirt. Lucky back in the house. Big up. Blazers out. Rob, always United in the house. I hope you're doing well, Rob. Always a pleasure. Everyone getting involved. Everyone is just throwing out these thoughts. I do like it. Let me get caught up here. Big up, Box. Good to see you again. So, obviously, I went with a little bit of a YouTube short when that starting 11 was put out there to get your guys' thoughts on that. Manu on the bench caused a little bit of a social media uproar. If you guys were anywhere near social media, as it's going to do. The commentary doesn't help, and the pundits don't help, and the journalists don't help. I think if Manu was in English, it wouldn't be a big deal. But again, I say that, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what the situation is. They're always going to hate. That's just what you do. So, two keepers on the bench was a little interesting. Diego Leon on the bench. It's unfortunately he didn't really get any minutes. Heaven on the bench could have been a good one too to bring on. Ahmad in the 10, Mazraoui in the right wing back, which is kind of what I predicted ahead of time. I was maybe thinking that Mazraoui, experience, maybe a little bit more physicality, could cope with Dorgu a little higher up the pitch. Obviously, that didn't happen. The thing, well, that I was a little upset with is Bruno in the pivot. I thought this was just a free hit chance for Amorim to throw Bruno in his better position. Now, this is where you're starting to get that threshold as a manager where you early on it's okay to say, okay, I was testing things out. Bruno didn't work. Well, let's put him in the 10. Now it's almost too late. Now Amorim really, I mean, again, he can. There's nothing wrong with changing, but it gets to be a point, like a threshold, where if he does it, then it kind of detracts a little bit from his authority and from his, just the trust, the belief that the players might have in him if he's changing something like that. When you get 2 10s and you put your 10 in the deeper role because you just want him to hoof the ball or whatever, you're kind of digging a little bit of a grave potentially. And so that was probably, to me, one of the bigger issues today was that team selection personally. Bach says the players are not good enough to play the system. I agree. I agree to an extent. Gary Neville definitely agrees. If you guys watch the Sky commentary after the fact, he said he doesn't have the players. And I'm like, he's got a lot of players this summer. I don't know what the deal is, but what you going to do? I don't understand it. So, going into the performances, like most days, I thought we started well, right? Not like dominating, but well. It was pretty back and forth those first 10, 15 minutes. So it just, again, we couldn't capitalize. And, conceding that goal really just changed everything. Again, against City, it just felt like, against Burnley, when we conceded a goal, no offense to Burnley, but like it felt like, okay, we can maybe do this. It's like when we concede a goal against City, it's like, well, they're City, they're too good, and we're not coming back from this. And then it was like exponentially worse. For a moment, even conceding, I wasn't worried. City scored first last December in Amorim's first derby, and then we came back to win that 2-1, if you guys remember. So I wasn't, for a second, I was like, all right, I'm not going to worry too much. But then the players just reverted to type. When we had chances too, the switch to wide players was on all day long too. Mizraoui, Mbeumo, Dorgu, that switch was on, and it was catching City out on several occasions, and we got the ball into those areas. But when we did, there was no help. There was one point, and I wish I remember the minute. I should have written it down so I can go back. There was one point where Mbeumo had the ball. It was either Mbeumo or Ahmad had the ball in that wide right flank after a good pass. But it was literally just like 6 blue shirts within like 20 yards. There was no other teammate. And I'm like, what are we supposed to do here? Like, no help, no runners, no options, no nothing. It was just like, where was everybody, man? Nothing but blue shirts, 15 yards in all directions. No wonder we struggled. City, on the other hand, get the ball wide, or they just get it forward quickly now, which is exactly what we said they do. And it just happens. We just conceding goal after goal. I mean, look at that. We helped Phil Foden get his first Premier League goal since like last January. So, hey, we're just generous like that. That's how we roll. But it's just, we don't help ourselves, and we just make it more difficult than it needs to be, man. What are you guys saying here? Let me get caught up in here. Box says we need world-class wingbacks. If we're going to play this system, we don't have any wingbacks. Well, the only wingback we have that we bought under Amorim in this system is Dorgu. And really, remember, we were looking at him before Amorim arrived, and so I don't know if he's necessarily even for Amorim. Dorgu was a left back at Lecce. It wasn't like he was a wing back, and so we still don't have those players. But I'm like, we're going to talk about that in a second when it comes to that Box. But I hear you. Box says we only play the 2 in the center midfield if we have 2 world class. Yeah, we don't have 2 world class. Like prime Casemiro maybe, but he's not prime. Danny's already given up. He's already just thrown in the towel. Oh no. Teresa says if United was winning, Amorim would have played the youngsters because the game went south. He wasn't going to put them through that. Yeah, I know there's always that old debate. You don't want to. It'll hurt their confidence, but I'm like. Same with Lamens. People are like, I wouldn't start Lamens against City. Like, he's going to have to play City eventually. But now, what are we going to wait till Lamens is like a rotation option for the next 3 years and then decide he's good enough. When we got De Gea, he was what 2 or 3 years younger than Senna Lamens. Like he'll be fine. I'm not worried about him. And it's the same. I mean, youngsters is one thing. Diego Leon was playing first team football. I'm not like to me he's young, but he's not like an academy. He's playing first team football. Like granted, it's not the same level, but again, first team football. Same with Sekou Kone. Sekou Kone is playing first team football, and what is he, 1920? Like I'm not as worried about some of these players as like someone like Harry Amos or something who didn't do that great over the weekend either. I think he got an OG against Radic Vitex Bristol City. So I'm not worried too much about young players personally. Box says even the back three looks shaky now. No leader. Yeah, I'm getting annoyed with the defense. We're going to talk about the defense because that's one of my thoughts is the defense. It's not great. Like he says, keep saying shut Haaland, Savinho, don't give him space. The problem is City played a different way this season, the way that we said. Instead of this slow ball progression, this side to side, this pragmatic, this patient, they're playing more direct. They're playing like a lot of teams play now, high press, win the ball, quick transitions. But the only difference is City had to buy 9 players to do it apparently. But it's the way they're playing, and we can never cope with a high press. We just can't. And then when we jump in the way City were inviting us and forcing a team full of United players who aren't really good at pressing in general, a lot of young players, a lot of mixed players, a lot of players playing out of position. Inviting the press catches us out. It leaves us exposed. Miscommunications, spaces, especially in midfield. Our wingbacks were pressing so high. Yoro was pressing so high. Ugarte so high up the pitch. We were constantly being exposed. If your wingback's going to go that high, fine. Someone's got to kind of keep an eye on that spot. If your center mid's going to press that high, fine. Wingback, tuck in. Like somebody has to fill that hole. We can't just let everybody do what they want to do. It doesn't work like that. This team, when you're doing like total football or something like this, it needs to be like a mobile above a baby crib. Pull one piece, the whole thing has got to move a little bit. One player goes up to position, somebody else has to kind of tuck in and just mentally keep an eye on that situation. It doesn't need to be as complicated as we're making it. Big up, Rich. Good to see you again, my friend. Hope you're doing well, man. Hope the channel is doing everything it needs to be doing. Yeah, Rich, I've complained about this with Ahmad a couple times now. Ahmad's greatest attribute can also be his worst because he's so good on the ball and he's so good at getting the ball into the box, but he takes about 2 to even 3 touches too many before he decides to do something with it. Like there's nothing wrong, especially as a winger, with whipping in an early ball around the defense or something, putting that into that kind of corridor of uncertainty between the keeper and the edge of the box where the keeper doesn't want to come out too far behind the defense. But he holds on to it, and it's one or two touches too many to mine, and it happens a lot. Oh, what are you guys saying? Box says Dorgu's crossing, and we're gonna talk about Dorgu because he looked really, really good to start the season, like probably the most improved player. And then he just looked a little shaky today, unfortunately. Really, really annoying, man. I don't know who Andrew is, Rich. Bexy, welcome. The thing is, City aren't even that good. Amorim needs to find a solution ASAP. The EPL record is horrible. Serious review in October with decision on Amorim. Hey, we're gonna talk all about that. Let me get through some of these individual performances, you guys. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, guys. Share this if you can. Love to get the community growing. We've got a lot of new faces recently. People were really feeling the Kickabout special, looking at the transfer window and season prediction. Brought a lot of new faces in, so I'm happy to see that. Let's keep it going. Who had a good game? Probably nobody. Yoro had a bit of a stinker for me. No surprise, in my opinion, that he was hooked for Maguire. He was just getting caught too high at the pitch too many times. Wrong side of Doku for that second goal, trying to pull him down. It's just not good. It left us very vulnerable. His positioning's off. And again, it's the things that you'd expect from young players, but at the same time, you're like, it was all kind of going wrong for him today. Bruno, again, ineffective in that deeper role. I don't blame him for being ineffective. It's not his position, but I blame Amorim for playing him there, and I blame Ineos for not getting a midfielder. Never mind the fact that, Bruno's jumping the gun a lot. Poor Ugarte, left on his own time and time again, surrounded by blue shirts, trying to pick which one to go for. But Bruno, man, his body language is off, and I don't mean just like the emotive stuff that people go in on for. That the commentators also just wouldn't shut up about today. I mean, he looks like his heart's not in it. Like he looks a little disinterested. He looks a little frustrated, but not like outwardly frustrated. It looks like he just doesn't want to do the job that he's been told to do. I don't think he wants to leave or anything. I just don't think he's enjoying playing in a deeper role and the limited impact he's allowed to have on the game. I just don't think that he's happy about that. Oh, I gotta get so caught up here. Oh, Sanchi, welcome back, Sanchi. Popping in, welcome. Make your presence known again with a super chat. Sanchi thinks that Ruben has lost the dressing room. Not even one yellow card in the derby shows something. Yeah, I saw Roy Keane complaining about that, and I didn't even realize that. But not one yellow card. Again, you can kind of see. I'm surprised that Kushanov didn't get a yellow card, honestly, for a lot of the shit that he was pulling. But no yellow card does show me a little bit that people just weren't into it, weren't really like a little hesitant here and there. It's a little frustrating, but let's see. Warbzo is back in the house. Welcome, Warbzo. I'm trying to get caught up on the chat, you guys. Hopefully everybody's doing well. Warbzo says this system is just too exploitable, and the higher level of the Premier League is proving this week in, week out. Yeah, it almost seems like Amorim, the way he wants us to play is almost like 2 or 3 years too late because the Premier League now is just different. If that makes sense. Now you kind of want someone who's going to press high up the pitch, win that ball back, and then get these quick transitions and not try to build out from the back all the time, trying to win it high up the pitch. It's unfortunate. It does feel like maybe right manager, wrong time in some ways, unfortunately. It's unfortunate. Fox says Amorim has to change something. His results of the last 10 months is 15th, 18th form, so we're in real danger. Yeah, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. I'm just trying to get caught up on the chats right now because it's insane. It's hot up here. Fuck. Rob says, I feel like it's the start of the end for Amorim. He can't seem to turn things around. Yeah, you guys are pretty much doing the show for me because I've got notes. I've got thoughts on all of that. Rob says, Haaland can score against anyone, no matter the defense. I mean, sometimes. We kept him quiet a couple times, but he is one of those strikers who, just get in the ball in the final third, and he's typically going to do something. And today we just let him have too much space to run into. There's no reason he should just be walking through Shaw and DeLitt time and time again. Like that's sad. That can't be happening, man. Not at this level. Let's see. Danny says, I want to get behind the manager, but if you can, I get 2 wins consistently in the Premier League after 10 months, and there's a major problem. You need to adapt regardless of the players. Yeah, they're always, again, it's another age-old debate, right? Should the manager be doing more with the players that he has, or should the players be doing better for the manager? It's difficult. You want to stick with the system, but at the same time, if you don't have the players for it, is it better to switch? But how long is that going to last? How does that make you look that you're adapting to the players who, quite frankly, a fair few of them have not been good enough for a number of years before Amorim even arrived? It's really unfortunate. I keep saying that a lot, but I'm trying to find a nice way to say it's shit because I don't want to get demonetized. If I just say what I want to say, it'll get be demonetized, and then we can all just go home. Oh boy. I just want to get caught up here. No mount, no party, says Box. Rob says he loves Mbrumo, keeps going for that win even when heads are down. Inspirational. A captain leading the charge. I've got thoughts on the last like 10 minutes myself, and they're not positive thoughts, unfortunately. Bexy wants to know what's the remedy. Let Bexy know what's the answer. I don't have answers. I really don't. I wish I could pinpoint something because for years we said it's the players. We keep changing the managers. That doesn't seem to help. Like everyone's complaining about the manager now. Everybody complained about Ten Hag. Everybody told Ten Hag to change his system. He changed his system. It didn't work. Everybody says go to a 4-2-3-1. Every manager since Fergie has played a 4-2-3-1. That didn't work. None of those managers are here anymore. And everyone wants to blame the players one day and then tell Amorim he's got to accommodate the players the next. There's literally no right answer, Bexy. I'm sorry to say. All right, dip out, Rich. Thank you. Big up. Danny says maybe bring Rude back. I have a thing about interims or former managers coming back. I just think that one and done is. I would lose respect for like Ollie or Rude if they came back. Is what I'm saying. I would prefer them not to do that. Keep it what it is. Box thinks the only realistic name is Xavi. Yeah, I was trying to put off having to create a whole video for Amorim replacements. I have it prepped and ready. I don't want to do it, but you guys know I have to keep prepared and I have to be proactive. It's ready to go. I've got like 6-7 names on the list that I think could come in, but doesn't mean I want Amorim gone, but just I have to prepare for that eventuality. We've seen this movie before, right? We know how it ends, unfortunately. Like says, who would get in as manager though? Honestly, I think United will sack Amorim soon. Ineos are on a time limit. Yeah, the thing with that, I'm going back up to Box's comment. The dangerous thing here too, Box, for Amorim is that we know that Ineos, I think, spoke with Xavi, right? And so similar to how they spoke with Amorim before they sacked Ten Hag, like there are names out there, and I think that one probably, when you consider the fact that they've spoke to Xavi, that he's a free agent, I think that could be very dangerous. Amorim really needs to be looking over his shoulder because the ice he's on is thin, and Xavi's on the shoreline with a rock, getting ready to toss it on that thin ice and break it. I am Titanium wants Rude back as interim. Yeah. Bexy says United have an all right squad, though. No, well, see, it's hard because you have fans on everywhere saying that the players are shit, then you have fans saying Amorim shit. Like, I guess both can be true, but then does that just mean United are shit? Was Roy Keane right in saying like we're just kind of a meh, like a mid squad right now? That's just all we are. Danny says Shaw should never wear the yeah. Shaw's getting more and more kind of like a deer in headlights when he comes up against just relentless pressure. He just is like he gets more and more lost in his head, and we saw it in preseason a couple times. He needs to really just figure it out. Box says he'd give it gigs. Yeah, I don't know how the Premier League would feel about that. Their Premier League is a bunch of spineless cowards right now. They won't even let him involved in the Hall of Fame. They're not going to let him come back and coach. Because every time something happens, that's going to be the talking point is just gigs and all whatever controversy, even though there's nothing to talk about if you guys want to go back and actually do the research. But it is what it is. Jules, welcome back, dude. He thinks the reason for today's result was multifaceted. Result is one thing. Performances, though, is always what I tend to look at more and not. Because even against Arsenal, I thought we were by far the better team. Unlucky to concede that goal from the corner. So I can take that. What are you guys saying so far? So far, 69% of you think that the Amorim system is the problem. 12% of you say the players just did not turn up on the day. 6% of you think City are just too good. They're just better. And then 12% of you think that the players just in general are not good enough. So keep the votes coming in, but big up. It is multifaceted. There's never really one thing. Like there's like, you need more fingers to point at what the issue is, right? There's 10 is not enough fingers. There's people who are going to still point the finger at the Glazers. They probably have a part in this in some weird way because we couldn't afford more players. I don't know, man. Jules says the game plan was flawed, but made City look very good, but also they were absolutely unplayable. Yeah, I do agree that, some parts of the setup today, especially the team selection with Bruno persistently being put in that deeper role, I think that did make City look better the way they're playing now this season. Bruno is not a deep player. Ugarte just doesn't have that footballing IQ. And so, again, they're baiting us with that press, and then they're just playing over it. We're constantly misaligned, jumping the gun, players out of position, nobody picking up that space. And it just allowed City to utilize this new stuff they're doing to the best of their abilities. Again, I do. It's a good point. We did make them look better than they actually were because I don't think they were great, unfortunately. But, I mean, it is what it is. Box says, can Xavi bring Pine Busquets? We'll just go get the flux capacitor charged up, all right, and hit 88 miles an hour, and we'll get it going, bud. Jump back in time. Legends will know. Bexy says, how many games would you give Amorim if results don't pick up? It's hard. You guys know that it's hard. Those conversations are difficult for me. It's not that I'm trying to be on the fence at all. I think sometimes that's the way it comes across. It's not that I'm on the fence. My brain just doesn't work like that. It doesn't work in a how many games you give it. Are you Amorim out? My brain just doesn't work in that way. I'm not saying I'm smart or anything. It's just those kind of black or white, either or kind of questions are just not something I'm good. It's why I don't like the Myers-Briggs, if anybody knows what the Myers-Briggs is, because it's comprised entirely of just either or questions. You like red or blue? And I'm like, well, it depends, right? It just depends. if the performances are good, Baxi, like what we saw from at Arsenal and stuff, it's a different thing. But if the performances were more like we saw from like today or like Grimsby or something, then it's a different kettle of fish, right? We do have statistically the hardest beginning to the season in the league right now. We've got to play like Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, City. It's difficult, and so there's that context. But at the same time, should Amorim be getting better? I haven't even gotten to I haven't even finished some of the individual stuff yet. I haven't even gotten to my thoughts. So I'm just getting caught up on these chats because you guys are all over it today. And I'm all for it. I have no problem sitting and chatting with y'all. So Danny says if he loses to Chelsea and Brentford, probably time to go. Yeah, I remember in my prediction for the next 5 matches, I actually thought that Brentford and Sunderland could be our first back-to-back league wins. I'm starting to I just might backtrack a little bit on that one, unfortunately. Yeah, we were kind of all over the place. We give away the ball too quickly. People are switching off. Euro is wrong side of Doku and thing. It's just none of it was good. Everybody was at all their individual battles. Everybody just seemed to be losing just at key moments, man. Shaw DeLitt could have done better for a lot of these goals as well. It's just not great. I mean, the one was from a throw-in. I mean, fucking hell, it shouldn't be happening, dude. Rob says Donnarumma in their goal showed anytime he plays. Yeah, aside from did you see his Pickford save early on? I don't know. It looked like it was in slow motion. I was like, is he just trying to do that on purpose? There was no need for that dive. Oh man, it was hilarious. Chanino, welcome. Good to see a new face. Says thank God for boxing over the weekend. Otherwise, this club will keep on messing up every weekend. I did have a little moment after this match today where I was like prepping the video and I was like, you know what? I kind of get what Ruben Amorim said when he said, what he meant when he said, sometimes I hate my players. Sometimes I love them. Sometimes I hate having a YouTube channel and most of the time I love it. I was telling my wife just before coming up here, like it used to be, before a YouTube channel, I could sit through that shit and then I don't have to think about it anymore. But now I've got to go analyze it, and now I've got to go put a stream together, and now I've got to go talk about it. So I got to relive it 4 times, and I'm probably going to watch it again tomorrow morning when I work out, so I can look at other stuff and see what was going on. Ugh, I love having YouTube, but sometimes I wish I didn't. So I get Ruben. I feel you in that regard. Big up Chinino, man. Box says, how did Holland miss that? How did Mbomo miss that open net, man? Bexy wants to know. I mean, if we don't have a manager shortlist already, then they're not doing their job. They should always have a list of replacements because you never know. You don't want to be scrambling. It is what it is. Yeah, he did miss a sitter too. Yeah, they could have easily got us for like 4 or 5 easily. Yeah, I think they could still be wins. It's going to depend on Cunha because Cunha has by far been one of our better players. We definitely missed his energy tonight, his willingness to just get involved and get that ball at the pitch. We definitely missed that a lot, and Bruno should have started in the 10, honestly, for me. Lucky is back in the manager right now. Yeah, they are looking difficult. It's amazing how opinions can change like that, man. Gosh. Z, welcome, says, why not Chelsea? They haven't beat us at Old Trafford for years because Chelsea look good and we're shit right now, unfortunately. They didn't look great the other day or yesterday, but they are doing better under Maresca and they definitely look better than we do. And so again, the comparisons are going to be there too. It definitely makes a difference though at Chelsea when you buy 50 players in 3-4 years, and I think Ander Herrera was as far back as you have to go for us to hit 50. So definitely helps. Yeah, we are generous. We did gift Phil Foden his first Premier League goal since January, and we have broken so many bad records in the worst way in the last couple of years. Like not just Amorim, like Ten Hag and stuff. It's not good, dude. Agile, how you doing? Good to see you. It says just terrible performance today. Jules thinks the biggest problem was the system. Players not knowing what they should be doing. 3 center backs up against. Yeah, and I've said it a couple times, Jules. How do we look worse with 3 center backs? It doesn't make that make sense. I don't get it. Against 1 center forward, it's embarrassing, man. It's embarrassing. Janino says there's a United fan. He's going to get a haircut after United win 3 games back to back. Yeah, he ain't getting a haircut. He's gonna look like cousin It from Adam's Family, if you guys know who that is. Yeah, I've seen that kid. Um, yeah, let me get over here. Yeah, I think that playing Bruno deep is definitely not helping us. But who else are you going to put in the pivot? Mainu and Casemiro, Mainu and Ugarte, Casemiro. I mean, now everyone's crying for Christian Eriksen to come back. I mean, if we want a deep playmaker, I mean, shit. Um, let's see. All right, I'm caught up on the chats. Whew, that took a minute. It was like 7 minutes of chats. Moving on. So Mbemo and Ahmad Shesko, none of those, they weren't bad necessarily. Like they weren't horrible. They didn't have like bad games. Ahmad started a little slow, but they weren't bad. He's holding on to the ball too long. He lost it a couple times, but they're just not doing. Unfortunately, and this isn't like their fault, but because of what everyone else is not doing well, they've got to be able. They have to do more, and they're just not able to do. They're not doing. They're not picking up the slack, I guess, from the other players. Unfortunately. And I thought we looked more dangerous later on. It just is what it is. I mean, Shesko barely saw the ball, no touches in the box. It's not a good look. Again, it's not his fault. We're so bad at getting that ball forward. It just is what it is. Ugarte was Ugarte. I don't really expect much more from Ugarte other than flying around and challenging people. I don't really expect him to be playing line-breaking passes or being press resistant and composed in his own area. I just don't expect that. We know what we're getting. I think that's what the job was. Dorgu, again, like I said earlier, sort of regressed a little bit, in my opinion, today. Maybe it's just international break, build up some rust. I think Mazraoui's still shaking off rust as well. He wasn't bad, again. It just wasn't as good as we have seen from either of them. It is what it is. Overall, we have too many players who really need to step up, and they're just not doing it right now. The goals we conceded, like many of you guys said, like the pundit said, they were avoidable goals, too. It's very frustrating. And again, like I said, City weren't great, but what they did well again today was bait us into that press so they can just get through it and quickly transition. Again, it's sad that one center forward can beat two center backs, three center backs that easily. Dorgu didn't help matters by keeping Yoro. It was a bit of a mismatch, honestly, that one. Yoro's still young. He's not quite there yet when it comes to reading those situations. He'll get there, but he's wrong side a couple times. Caught way high up the pitch way too many times, and it left us really, really exposed. Bruno, even after the fact, said, there was a lot of miscommunication when it came to presses. It left us open, and it left us out of position. That can't be happening. It cannot be happening. So let me get caught up here. What are you guys doing? Yeah, I thought when we moved him over to the right-hand side, I mean, he definitely looked better. I think that, again, Amorim is one of those another day where Amorim's just kind of tweaking a little too much, experimenting a little too much, rather than just, like I said, last January in that New Year's resolution stream, like just stop changing so much, put the best players in their best positions, and try to implement the tactics that way. But when you're throwing Bruno deep, when you're throwing Amon on the left and this and that, like it doesn't help. It just makes things more complicated because now you're trying to get them to play out of position, learn these new tactics, and now they're in different positions. It just doesn't work, dude. Danny says Ugarte was woeful. Actually, I was looking at the numbers after the game, Danny, and I was actually surprised that he did as well as he did. Again, this is one of those things where the numbers and the eye test will kind of clash. But like when I go look at Ugarte, he got 90% pass accuracy, which wasn't bad. He made he completed 3 out of 3 long balls. He just wasn't winning his tackles, but he only went for 3 tackles and he won 1. So when you look at that, he made 2 interceptions though, which is pretty good. He won 4 out of 7 ground duels, and the only aerial duel he went for, he actually won. So it's like they weren't bad, but I don't think he was trying to make as many tackles. He only attempted 3 tackles and he made 1 of them. And so in and of itself, it's not like he's bad. It's just he just wasn't doing enough. So it was surprising sometimes when you look at the numbers, but it is what it is. Rob says Ahmad was poor tonight. Interesting. All right. Guys, like the video. Make sure you subscribe. Let me go into my thoughts. Keep getting your thoughts in. Keep getting involved in the poll. Amorim's system is still holding strong at 61% of the votes. But in my first thought on the night, indefensible defending. Again, it's not even really that City were great. We just shot ourselves in the foot with errors, switching off, being sloppy on the ball, miscommunications, not taking our chances well. We're not helping ourselves at all. Someone tell me how a back 3 can look worse and more confused and more vulnerable than a back 2. Simple movement in and around the box, runs in and around the area. They have us at 6s and 7s like every time. It's like our defenders have never played a single minute of football before. To like, communicate, switch off, let someone else take the runners, switch runners. It's like a little bit of movement. We saw it against Arsenal as well. Just a little bit of that movement just confuses us. No one's watching the far post. No one's just like, we're just letting people walk right into our box. It's got to stop. De Ligt and Shaw could not handle that movement. Euro again, poor match. The less said about their third goal, the better. Bad defending. I mean, it was worse for that chance that Reinders missed. I mean, no one is literally with him. Like, no one's covering him. He's just like, oh, okay, no one's gonna try. Okay, I'll just carry it up here. It's too easy to pass and move and run around our defense like they aren't even there. It's like they're literally training dummies. They're just standing there. Euro is young, yes, but he was poor. De Ligt has got to do better. He's got to be a leader. He's got to be communicative. He's got to be organized back there. Shaw too. Shaw's older. He's the oldest one back there. What are you doing, dude? If he's fit enough to start, then he's fit enough to do better than that. We've seen better from Shaw than we saw tonight. Even at center back, you remember a couple years ago when Ten Hag was starting him over a fully fit Maguire at center back, and Shaw was doing very well. If he's fit enough to play, and we've seen better from him, he's got to do better, because tonight, not good enough at all. What do you guys think of the defending? Rob says we should have signed Donnarumma. Donnarumma wanted a lot of money, and City just don't have a problem with that, unfortunately. Agile says Ugarte was buzzing around getting interceptions and tackles in the first half, was awful in the second half. Yeah. Let's see. Rob says Mbeumo was quality, made some mistakes, but 100% a threat. Yeah, he was like our biggest, that if anything was going to happen tonight, it was going to be from Mbeumo. The problem is it was a little too late. Jules says, in my opinion, the setup made the back three look worse. Haaland was sublime. Totally unplayable, yeah. I mean, again, Haaland is one of the best strikers right now. Now, if you can keep the ball from getting to him, it's better. We're not good pressing. We don't have, Ugarte doesn't have really high footballing IQ. Bruno is not a deep midfielder. He should have pressed from the front. He should have been on the 10. We should have stuck Kabi in there with Ugarte or Casemiro, and we should have figured it out from there. It didn't need to be as complicated as we made it tonight, unfortunately. Yeah, Shaw definitely not have his best game. Rob says we got a lot of money. It's not about the price, it's the wages. He wanted a lot of money, and you can't. If it's a transfer fee, it's one thing, but when it's wages, it has potential to disrupt the dressing room a little bit, especially right now when you've got Kabi trying to figure out the contract situation. We're trying to get away from a crazy wage structure, and Donnarumma wanted a lot of money, and we just didn't want to pay that, unfortunately. So it is what it is. No, spending money is not the issue. The problem is that Donnarumma, I don't know if we were 100% in form, and he wanted a lot of money per week, and I just don't think we were going to do that, unfortunately. So number 2, guys, get your thought in real quick. Slow summer is hurting us. Šeško and Mbeumo don't quite look in sync. Now, Mbeumo looks better, but again, to start the season, he definitely did not look like he was 100% fit, 100% in sync. And Šeško is starting to get that too. This is only Šeško's first start in a league match. But when you don't get a preseason, when we took forever to get those deals over the line, we waited till super late in the window, it hurts. These players don't have preseason. They don't have time to sink in with their teammates. Some of them, like Šeško, not up to speed with the Premier League. It's no surprise that of the new signings, Cunha's probably looked the best. He joined the first week of June, took part in the tour, full preseason. Mbeumo took a month and a half to get over the line. Šeško was late. Lamens was pretty much a deadline day, really. And those big changes were done way too late in the window. It doesn't even touch upon that late move we made for Gallagher on loan that got bounced back. Like, why did we wait so long to do this? Ask any former player, any coach, they'll all say the same thing. Preseason is crucial. You need preseason. Rio goes on about it all the time. Ineos had a free hit to look at how late that we've left it in the past under Woodward and the Glazers and whoever, like Antony, Casemiro. We waited so long to get these guys over the line. They had an opportunity to look at that and do just better, and it wouldn't have taken much to do the business earlier. Even if from a financial standpoint, look at the money we could have saved on Antony and Casemiro had we gotten those deals done in July instead of waiting till mid-August. I mean, Antony would have been almost a third of the price had we gotten that done earlier, and then no one would care about that, right? I'd be frustrated if I were Ruben Amorim, not having a preseason with some key players in the squad, especially a striker. Considering the lack of quality and the lack of players that suit the system to go into preseason, not getting them in early would be very frustrating. And then the international break took a week, like 2-week delay in the whole process. We were starting to look clicking, then it just changed. I'd be frustrated, but we needed more players. We needed to move quickly. We needed players to get up to speed, especially with a very system-oriented, very tactic-oriented manager. And it didn't happen. It was my one demand going into the summer, get the business done early. And it was the one thing we did not do. And it's costing us. It costs us left and right. So Bach says Barada is a fraud. You guys are funny. Rob says Jim ain't going to take much more of Barada's BS. I mean, I don't know who's at fault for some of this stuff. Like Barada, I mean, Sir Jim is the one writing the checks, right? So I don't know what it is, but if we're not in a hurry, which I don't get because this whole 2028 thing, then it's one thing. But at the same time, you're not helping your manager. You're really, and you're like the whole Kabi situation now. I think according to Romano, now we're focusing more on player contracts. So maybe Kabi, his contract will get sorted, but it just doesn't seem like there's much urgency, which is a big worry. Agile says we borrow a lot of money to spend a lot of money and crap like big wages. The way the club down like an anchor. Is this an accurate summary? Well, it has been. We've not spent well. We've paid players way too much. We've not sold players for profit unless they were from the academy. And a lot of these players who were on big wages just walked at the end of their contract for free because nobody will pay them that much. It has killed us. It's really killed us. Getting some of these guys like Rashford and whatnot out and having their wages taken care of is a big help. But we're paying for a lot of that. Now, nobody saw like this whole credit line getting reactivated. I didn't think that was even going to be an option considering all the debt we already have, but apparently Ineos decided to try to help. But unfortunately, it's not enough to just spend like that if you're waiting until August to get the deals done. It doesn't help anything. Yeah, Wilcox, I think he's definitely looking at the local like Lusail, Heaven kind of signings as well. But we needed, and Vivell, I think we need to tap into Vivell a little bit more. But I thought Barada was going to be the guy to be looking at some of the bigger first team players. If we don't get somebody in January, this is going to be a problem. And by problem, I mean is Amorim in trouble? Kind of a problem. It's very early in the season still, but Amorim needs to find a solution, and I mean like yesterday, find a solution. I'm not going to talk anymore about the system. You guys can talk about that. I'm tired of talking about the system personally because I don't necessarily think it's all the system. I think that it's not helping, but at the same time, the players have a lot to do. But every manager since Sir Alex, like I said, has used a 4-2-3-1, and none of those managers are here anymore. But again, I don't think it's that problem. But at the same time, the question I have is more about, do the players look like they're buying what Amorim is selling? Like, are they picking up what he's putting down, right? Like, is that what's happening? We've already spoken about Bruno's body language. Doesn't look too happy. Kabi's not happy. And Mbuemo looks a bit off of it. Šeško's not able to get involved. Bruno's form is dipped. Ahmad is not having as big as an impact as he did last season for sure. Even Dorgu has regressed a bit. Is this mental? Is this just these players aren't good enough? Because Dorgu looked great early in the season. Ahmad's looked great. Bruno, we know what Bruno is. What is happening? Sloppy play for the goals today. Defenders caught out by simple runs. Like, I don't get it. Like, I don't get what the issue is because we were so good against Arsenal, but it has been progressively worse since. Going out of the Carabao Cup in the first round at Grimsby Town was probably a new low. I'm not blaming like certain decisions. Like, I don't blame starting Bruno in the six for the performance of the loss. Like, there's like someone said, I think Jules said earlier, it's a little bit of everything. But like, he should have started in the 10. Kabi and whoever in the mid pivot, I think would have been a better way to start the game. But that's not why we lost. But these little decisions do have big impacts. Again, getting back to my point, do the players not buy into the tactics? Do you think that his comments in the pressers have rubbed them the wrong way or have maybe just failed to inspire them? Do you think that he's out of his depth? Do you think the players think he's out of his depth? I mean, the players themselves, too, they aren't blameless, especially with these chances that we're just not putting away. And what somebody said earlier, like, yeah, I thought such and such was good in the final, like, 10 minutes. That's a problem for me. We went up a gear in those final minutes after the game was done. And we've seen that before from these players. We've seen that before where we'll go down a little bit. We like that game against City, and then we get like a goal or two to bring us to give everybody something to cheer about. The game was done. They wait to the last couple minutes, and they go on a little bit of a flurry, like a 2-minute drill in NFL. And that's it. It's just too little too late. It's not good enough. And we've seen that from these players in the past. Again, it's difficult to pinpoint what's going on, but something needs to change if results are going to turn around. And I'm probably not the only one who think this. Sir Jim, Sir Alex, Barada, Wilcox were in attendance today. They did not look happy at all. I don't know if Sir Jim is sleeping or if he's just slapping himself in the face to make sure he's not having a nightmare. Amorim can't say that he expects more from players like Cobby and also think that they don't feel the same way about him. I'm a fan. I expect more from Amorim. I expect more from the players. The players probably expect more from themselves. They definitely expect more from Amorim. Sir Jim, Ineos, Barada, they're going to expect more from Amorim as well. I don't think it's as simple as just changing the manager or spending $100 million on Baleba or Wharton. I don't think it's just an Amorim thing. Like I said, it's so multifaceted, like Jules said. And we've seen over the years that changing a manager, signing a big player, that doesn't solve any problems. It just doesn't. But I do think that while it's not an Amorim thing or Baleba or whatever, I do think that it's a can someone do better with this squad kind of a thing. That's the question that really is rattling through my mind as I'm watching games like this. Let me get caught up in the chat. Y'all let me know what you think about those remarks. Let's see. Spencer, welcome. Spencer Cordes says this is relegation season. Well, we'll see, man. Welcome to the channel, though. Mark, welcome back. Mark says Amorim has a few games left. Chelsea and Liverpool will see him go. Should never have been employed. He wasn't qualified. Yeah, that was the question I just asked. Maybe is he in over his head? Is he out of his depth a little bit? That was something to consider. Rob says Bastoni, Vinny, let's start spending. Oh boy. Bexy says based on data, United could be fighting at the bottom of the table a fair bit. Again, it's really early. We're only 3 points off of top 5 right now. So come back to me in 10 matches in, and if it's where we were last year, we spent most of the season in the bottom half of the table, then it's a different story. But we're a good result, and we could be up in the top 5, top 6 easily. So we'll see. Mark's funny. Chat Sport, welcome back. So there's a huge space everywhere. A high line with no pace in midfield. Yeah, a lot of it was just poor pressing, not synchronized pressing, not pressing as a unit, bad timing, miscommunication, nobody paying attention. And City exploited that, unfortunately. It is what it is. It is what it is. Jules says, at the minute, this all just seems like an Amorim vanity project destined to fail. Let me know what you think, what you mean by that. Elaborate a little bit. Samuel, welcome back. Bruno, Casemiro, Dallo, Maguire, Xerxes, Shaw should be playing for Manchester United. I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see Bruno leave in January at this point. Honestly, I just don't think he's happy. I don't think he wants to play in a deeper role. I think he wants to be more involved higher up the pitch. I think he should be. I think we need him up there. But when you buy Cunha and you buy Mbeumo, Bruno's not going to start up there unless you play him as a false 9. But if you do that, then it's why buy Šeško? So somebody's got to go, and unfortunately, I think it's going to be Bruno. Samuel says we should have started Heaven. Interesting. Sanchi says if we lose against a tired Chelsea, I think Ruben is done. Again, I think it's going to be more in the manner. But again, he's got to find a way to get results. It can't just always be we look better. It will get better. I'm just as frustrated as the fans. It can't at some point, you guys know I've said this many times. If you couldn't use your words, how would I know that you mean what you say? It's not enough to simply say we're looking better. Everyone is working hard. I believe in the players. And then you have to get results. I don't care if it's an ugly 1-0. You have to get the result. That's all that's going to matter. You think we can sit here and banter Arsenal for getting a fluky corner when we were the better side, but that's how you win. That's how you get up the table. That's the difference, is winning ugly. I posted a comment. I think Danny and I were going back and forth on comments the other day, and it's sometimes you have to be lucky and not good. That's the difference between title winners sometimes and people who are consistently in second place, like Arsenal. Like sometimes you have to do that. So it's just unfortunate. Jules is elaborating a little bit for me. He says he will stick with his style and he will not change due to losing face. Yeah, that one's a tough one for me because I get it, right? Ineos knew what they were buying with Amorim. He played a different system. It's a big part of why Liverpool ended up going with Arne Slot. They didn't want to go through a whole nother rebuild. And we knew what we were getting into. So if it's a system thing, then I blame Ineos more than I blame Amorim because they knew what they were buying and they knew what that meant. If its system's not going to work, then that's an Ineos thing. Because Amorim is not going to change. I don't expect managers to change their system. If you're just going to ask him to play 4-2-3-1, then why did we bother getting him? Just should have got another manager at that point. You should have just went and got, Xavi, who was free, instead of spending all that money to get Amorim early and all of his coaching staff. There was no point in that. If you're going to back a guy who's playing a completely different system, then you believe in that system. Now, if the system doesn't work, then Ineos have to hold their hands up and say, all right, you know what, we got that one wrong. Then I worry about Ineos because they did that with Ten Hag, they did that with Ashworth. Now they could do that with Amorim. At some point, it looks like you have no idea what you're doing, and that worries me. And you can't force them to just take off. I mean, they could. There's that clause in their ownership contract. They could not be here in a year for all we know. But so I get what you're saying. I don't have a problem with managers being stubborn because I do think it is belief in a system. The problem is always going to be getting the players to do it and getting the players to buy into it, especially when the results aren't coming. How can you motivate at that point? You've got to dig deeper. You've got to find a way to win. And that's what I meant earlier when I said, like, Amorim is not, I'm not seeing enough from Amorim to tell me that he's got anything else up his sleeve other than we play this way. And then if we're down a goal in the final 5 minutes, I'm going to bring on Maguire and set him in the box. And we're just going to hoof it and see if we can get something. Those are the only two tactics I've seen from Amorim so far. And it's very frustrating because I like Amorim. I think he's a good manager, but he's like, it's kind of like Højlund. I'll stick to Højlund until I get to a point where I'm like, I just don't see any way past this. Like, and we're getting close. I'm not there yet. I didn't want to turn that into it, but Chat Sports says dropping Bruno deep isn't going to help this team. Amorim maybe play an extra midfielder. Yeah, Danny thinks it's 100% on Ineos. I think a big part of why we're struggling in midfield is because we didn't need to go offer 100 million for Baleba. We could have got a couple players for that. If we were waiting that late to look at midfielders, I don't get, like, it was either 100 million for Baleba or Gallagher on a loan. Like, those were our only options. That's not inspiring. It's really not inspiring. Bexy says United look like they have a good morale, but there are still patterns from last season that are a big concern. We definitely still struggle. Rob agrees with me. Yes. So I'd hope to win today, but wasn't expecting it. Haaland on form will score against any team. Yeah, Haaland's always a little bit of that X factor. I don't think he's world class quite yet. I do think he's class. I don't think he's world class, but we'll see. Amorim made more comments today that basically say, like what Jules was saying, he's going to play his way, and if Ineos don't like it, then they can sack him. So this is what Amorim had to say. I will do everything I can for Man United. And this is my message to the fans. I'm suffering more than them. Okay, we'll see. I'm sure it's a big suffering to get that payout when you get sacked. But he continues, says, I won't change my philosophy. If Ineos want it changed, you change the man. He's basically said the same thing before. If you want a different way of playing, then you want a different manager. That's basically what Amorim's saying there, which he said before. It's not the first time he said stuff like that. Bit ballsy that, though, when you've got the worst win percentage of any Manchester United manager since World War II. Little stat for you history buffs out there. That's a bit ballsy statement. You can't rock up with 31 points from 31 league games since taking over, the worst win percentage since World War II, and say, if you don't like it, sack me. Like, some people are really looking into that and saying he is literally begging them to sack him because he just doesn't believe that he can do anything with the squad. I think he's trying in his way to back himself and to say that he believes in the system. I don't think it's coming out the way he thinks it's sounding in his head, personally. Jules says he's saying sack me. Everybody's got a different opinion on it, man. Danny said he said it back in April. Building a team around Bruno and mid will get him sacked. Building a team around Bruno 5 years ago is fine. Building a team around Bruno now, not going to work, especially when you're playing him in a deeper role, which is not where he plays. If you went to a 3-5-2 and played Bruno as an 8, it would be fine because that's where he plays for Portugal. He can play there. Playing him as a 6 in this is not going to work so well. So, Sanchi says Højlund scored his first 50 minutes in Napoli. Read between lines. Yeah, we talked about that earlier, Sanchi. Højlund, I mean, he made a run. Somebody from a deeper position found his run. We just weren't doing that at United. He was making runs. We were trying to play him a different way. It didn't work. It's not as simple as just the league is slower. I don't think it's that's a bit of an oversimplification because we did a whole video on McTominay a while back. You guys can go watch that if you want to. But again, he makes the runs, someone finds him. When someone found Højlund when he was making the runs, chances are he would create something or cause some problems. We just weren't finding him enough, and then we were trying to play him as his hold-up striker. And then I think he just got in his own head, and it just got worse and worse and worse. And then that started to impact his performance, which is going to happen. He's a human being. It's not that simple. You guys know I'm in the PFA course right now for football psychology. I've got a sports psychology certification. It's not as simple as just they get paid more or they're professionals. You can't just compartmentalize everything, whether it's personal life or just a string of bad forms and stuff. It's not that simple. But again, the writing was on the wall for a little bit. United till I die. Welcome, says Ruben out. Oh boy, we got our first official Ruben out of the chat. What are you guys saying? You guys are still rocking up, saying 61% of you say Amorim's system is the problem still. Yikes. Let me put this quote back on this so you guys can get more thoughts in. I'm going to put it on the side by side though, so y'all can still see me a little bit. Hold up. There we go. Chat Sport says, if that's the case, Eddie Howe is a manager that comes in next. We've got a lot. I've got a whole video prepped. I'm not pulling the trigger on that yet, though, because I don't want to put that out there in the universe. But we'll see what happens. Oh, you guys are funny. I think the whole Italian league is a slower league thing. I think people are still looking back at like 20 years ago. It's definitely not as slow. The quality I don't think is there. I just think the quality in that league is not quite there. So maybe it looks slow, but I don't think it's slow necessarily. It's just there's not many top teams in that league. AC Milan I wouldn't call them a top team. Inter, they were a couple years ago. They've been struggling since. Juve are not really. Napoli are the best team in that league right now, and that's about it. And like Juve aren't even that great these days. So I just don't think the quality is there anymore. So. But yeah, on Amorim, he has to have more ideas. He's got to show me more when things aren't going well. You have to have more. It's like Ollie. Ollie had the counterattack, great. But what do you do when that doesn't work? Got to have more. I'm not going to demand that he change his system, Amorim. It's not going to happen. He's not going to change his system. I'm not going to, I like that Gary Neville pretty much said the same thing. He's like, doesn't bother saying it. It's a moot point. It's not going to happen. Ten Hag changed his system. Everybody gave him shit for it. Now everybody wants Amorim to do it so they can just say, see, like he's abandoning his principles. You know, Robbie Savage has got that ready to go, that whole article. But like I said last season, though, like in that January show, like Amorim can make tweaks and little changes without sacrificing the whole. Like stop changing the starting 11 around so much. Play the players in their best positions. Up the tempo a little bit, especially when we're building out from the back. And most importantly, learn from your mistakes. Learn from what went wrong. It doesn't look like we're learning from what didn't work in one match and we're just still trying the same shit. And like you can find a way to get results, even if ugly, without players that are perfectly suited to your system. You don't have to be Pep Guardiola where you're like, oh, this year I want to play this way. Go get me 8 new players. Like you don't need that. I'm not saying that every manager is Fergie where you can get blood from a stone. You can pull Paul Scholes out of retirement and win the Premier League. Not every manager can do that. Fergie was like top tier when it came to that. I've never seen another manager be able to do that. But you've got to find a way. And it's not my job to tell him how to do that. That's his job. Bruno in the 10, if Cunha's still out. Mainu, Casemiro in midfield. Casemiro looked good now. It's not that hard to figure out. That's your midfield sorted until Cunha's fit. And then Cunha's fit, hey, we rotate a little bit. And maybe Bruno sits on the bench now and then. It's not that hard. It's still early enough in the season, in my opinion, for big changes to be made. Now, make of that what you will. Maybe that's Amorim making changes. Maybe that's Ineos making changes. It's still early enough to salvage something, but somebody's got to make changes. We're only 3 points from top 5, but I think we can safely say that 21 ain't coming this year. Sorry, guys. Sorry to disappoint anybody. Sorry to burst your bubble. This puts us in 14th. Chelsea is next in line to hand us a thrashing, probably. The most difficult start to the season is hurting us a bit because I think after that Arsenal match, it definitely went down a notch a bit. Start Lamens against Chelsea. Bruno may be under consideration to be dropped. Like, just have to. He's got to be able to be pre-dropped if he's not performing well. What are you guys saying here in the chat? Let me get back involved as well. Prop says PED is no longer in the Italian league. Yeah, no longer in the Spanish league either. Sorry, Pep. Mad Hatter, welcome back, says he is officially Amorim out. We've got a couple. That's the second Amorim out tonight. United Till I Die says he wants to do what's best for us. Why isn't he can change for the better? Well, it just depends on what your perspective on change is. If you want him to change the system, it's not going to happen. But like I said, there are things that he can change. Just quit changing the 11, up the tempo a little bit. Consider benching Bruno now and then, or at least playing him in his better position. It's not that hard. You can still work with your tactics and the way you want your football played. You can use the formation you want. It's not that hard, but he's just got a freaking hit. Good old Nabi Savage, yeah. Oh boy, ITN's back. Big up. He says, well, don't say I didn't put my head out weeks back. Are you in the fence? Well, it would be on the fence, not in the fence. I'm never on the fence. Like I said, my brain just doesn't do the whole in-out thing. It just doesn't. I just don't do either ors. Like, I don't think in black or white like that. I think so many things are too intricate, too confuddled, and there's too many different factors at work for me to just go either or. We're 4 matches in, again, 3 points from top 5. A couple good results could swing this whole thing around. But again, Amorim is in trouble. He's got a lot to do. And again, I let managers make their own mistakes. It is what it is. Nothing I say is really going to make a difference anyway. But welcome back, ITN. Good to see you again. Glad to bring the positivity back, my friend. We miss that around here. United Till I Die says all the youth we have are getting worse under him, not to mention how many players are out of position. Yeah, and that's like another thing. You just play the players in their best position, man. Jules says there's no shame in changing tactics during a match when planning. Yeah, there is no shame in that. I don't know if Amorim has another tactic. That's what the point I was making. Like, he's got to have more ideas when things aren't going well. You can't just keep persisting and then stand there and just shaking your head, walking back to the bench and like, I don't know what to do. Like, your job, manager, is also a verb. Like, it's not just a title. Like, I'm a manager. Like, coach is a verb too. Like, parent is a verb. I wish I could say that to parents sometimes. You got to actually do stuff. You got to make some changes. Sometimes you are a bit reactive. Now, it doesn't, like, you're allowed to make changes. If even in the first half, if shit's not going well, make changes. I don't care if it means, hey, we're going to take off Dorgu, put Mizrahi on the left, Ahmad on the right, put Bruno on the 10, bring on Kavi. If you have to do that 20, 25 minutes in, fine. You could have saved a point at least, but you're just waiting too long, hoping it'll work when the players maybe just not doing it. Like, that's a problem for me. Mad Hatter says a good manager has to look at what's working, what's not, try different tactics, do whatever it takes to find a winning formula. Yeah, you've got to find a way to get results, man. You just need to find a way. I don't know if I've seen any favoritism personally, because Dallow's been fit and is not starter. Bruno is the captain, so he's going to start. I do think that he could get benched here and there. Who else is Portuguese in the side? Trying to think off the top of my head. I can't think of anyone else. Yes, Rob. These guys, make sure you're hitting that like button. Where's this poll at so far? Still Amorim. Everyone's blaming Amorim. Bog says, I drop everyone today, barring Bumo. Probably Shesko as well. Rob says, I don't think he'll bench. You don't bench. I just don't think you're going to bench the captain. I think you would just get more out of him if you played him higher up the pitch. And I don't think that it's rocket science. Like, you don't need a UEFA license to say, like, Bruno is a 10, Cunha's injured, maybe we play Bruno. But again, if Bruno is going to be in your pivot as in any system, then he's probably going to stick with him there instead of changing that. But I just think today you needed to get the result. So I think it's a problem. Let's see. Box says bench Dogu. Dogu definitely had a bad game. he started the season very, very well. He looked very, very improved over the summer, and today was definitely not a great one personally, but it is what it is. Everybody was pretty shit today. So, what's this poll at? 26 votes. I'm going to end it there. Amorim's system wins it as the problem. United Till I Die says the bomb squad is gone. Onana too, yet it's always the players. We cannot keep buying a whole new team. These managers coming in have to make it work with what they were given. I think it's both and, right? I think that the players have a mentality issue. The managers have to do better. It doesn't help that we've changed the managers so much. Now, what I do think is different under Ineos is that I don't think we're buying players for managers like we used to do. We're saying this is the kind of qualities we want to play: intensity, mentality, aggression, energy, work rate. And so these players every manager should be able to get something from these players. I think we're buying players that are hopefully a little bit more universal. They're versatile. Some of them can play in multiple positions as well, but they've got mentality, the kind of mentality we've seen and we've envied from players and teams like Newcastle and whatnot. A lot of these new Ineos signings have that. And under managers, a good coaching, they can improve as well. But those intangible qualities, the mentality, the resilience, the leadership, that can be a big help. So that's, again, why Amorim could be at risk. So we'll see what happens, man. Will Amorim start before 2026? I hope, man. He's got to start against Chelsea. If we don't start him, like, what's the point? Seriously, what's the point? But those are my 3 thoughts, you guys. Those are my thoughts in the match. You read a little bit about Amorim, what Amorim had to say. Really good discussions, and I appreciate everybody getting involved in the chat as always. Please make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I don't want to have to pop up tomorrow and do an emergency Amorim replacement video, but we're almost to that point, I feel like. So rest assured, it is prepped and ready to go. Go check out yesterday's scouting report special if you haven't done so yet. Handful of hidden gems and future ballers in that video. Had a fun time putting that together. Buck says Martial gone from Turkish League to Mexico. Not always great after United. Yeah. Appreciate that. Really, it's you guys that make it great. You guys, it's your show. I just throw the topics out there to get your thoughts. What do we got here? Rob Always United. Another legendary performance from him. Better performance than anybody that was on the pitch today. Gifting 5 memberships. Big up. It's good to see. Again, you always get to see the lurkers when you gift the memberships, but big up. Remember that members, you can get involved in the channel. Suggestions for scouting reports, suggestions for episodes for What If. Legends members can also join in on the Kickabout show. You can just hit me up at unitedstatesofunited@gmail.com, and we will send you that link. You can join in virtually with Dylan and I as we talk about, different topics of the week, looking back on the week. So if we do the Kickabout this week, though, it will be Tuesday, not Wednesday, but we'll see what happens. But if we do it, looks like it'll be Tuesday. So, but big up, Rob, man. Absolute legend. Getting everybody hooked up. Man of the match performance from Rob. So we'll leave it there for you guys. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Don't let it ruin your night. Tomorrow is another day. Hopefully we can show up against Chelsea. Maybe they'll be tired from European football this week, but I doubt it. But in any case, take it easy. Thank you guys for stopping by. Like the video, subscribe, check the memberships, and check the Unitedverse Everybody's store. Get your hands on some sweet gear like the Fergie Time mug, which you can get right now. Take it easy. I'll see you guys on the next one. Later.